Welcome back. Now, the African National Congress National Working Committee has resolved not to engage in a tit-for-tat with the Democratic Alliance over the budgets of different departments. This is a report according to radio broadcaster EWN, and they are saying that the NWC could not close off on the state of the government of national unity because party officials are yet to deliver reports on attempts to reset the coalition. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome the party spokesperson. Of course, earlier on we had spoken to the DA's Karabo Gagau. I'd like to welcome the ANC spokesperson, Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri. Mahlengi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you to your audience there at Hilaal TV.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Mahlengi, there's a report coming from EWN. I just wanted to ask, is this the current state of the ANC right now, that many of the party officials are yet to deliver reports on the attempt to reset the coalition? The ANC has said that they're committed to the GNU. I just wanted to get your take on it.
Well, I did not see the EWN reportage. I think we are best advised to look at our statement, which we issued on Saturday afternoon following the Democratic Alliance, led by its leader, John Steenhuisen, making that pronouncement at the expiry of the 48-hour ultimatum. So that is where we still are. We just came out of the National Working Committee and are headed to the National Executive Committee. And any decision would require a National Executive Committee as the highest decision-making structure between Congresses. So that work is ongoing. I'm not certain where or what is the basis for the EWN suggesting that there are some reports that have not been made. Subject to correction, if that is the accurate reportage, it is untrue. And I think we should just stick to the statement of the ANC. There was no such a discussion of that nature. We discussed the recent developments. The president advised the meeting, gave a full report, and then the meeting deliberated and came up with a recommendation or two that we are going to be taking to the National Executive Committee. And I'm not at liberty to really speak about it until the NEC sits, because any decision can be taken at that level.
Mahlengi, I just wanted to get your reactions to the DA laying, from what we understood, it was a criminal complaint, but it's actually become a criminal charge against Nobuhle Caban, the Minister of Higher Education.
Well, the DA is known for substituting democratic discourse and engagements that have always been the cornerstone of South Africa's constitutionalism. They have replaced that for the courts. In other way, the courts must run government according to the actions of the Democratic Alliance. But having said that, they have a right, as we've said before, with all the other court cases that they had initiated. We've always said any South African has a right to use one of the arms of one of the organs of the state, which is the judiciary. Of course, there are cases that must be discussed about how do we balance the power of the judiciary and looked at against the powers vested in the Constitution of Parliament and that of the executive. But I suspect that that's the type of conversation that is placed also at the level of the national dialogue and ongoing discussions among opinion makers and other state actors on this thing, and especially when there is the abuse of the courts. But that's a conversation for a separate day. They have a right to open a case and let us allow the law to then take its course, because that is what we need to respect the role of the courts and not opine in a way that suggests that we're questioning how the judiciary is working. So I hope I'm understood in that context. It is about how the DA is utilizing the courts. However, having said that, indeed, the law must take its course, and the ANC will always defend the independence of the judiciary. And of course, whoever is affected, they also have their rights in law. In the Bill of Rights are protected. They can take up whatever course of action they deem fit.
Okay, well, of course, we will be following developments with regards to that, the criminal charge that has been laid. But I want to get back to, of course, some of what was mentioned, of course, in the statement, Mahlengi. Now, the DA has said that they're going to not attend this national dialogue. What's the ANC's response to that, given that, of course, it's been in discussion for quite some time, this national dialogue, various stakeholders that are there. One would obviously assume that as a GNU partner, the DA would be attending that. Well, they've made it clear they don't want to be a part of that. The ANC's response to that, Mahlengi?
Well, we've said elsewhere, we've said that what the DA is really missing here is that this is not a party, a dialogue amongst political parties. It is a convention where South Africans from all walks of life, regardless of their age, regardless of whether they are rural or urban, regardless of whether they are professionals, regardless of whether they are in the media, all South Africans are having an opportunity to engage on the South Africa we want, the South Africa of our dreams. And some of the things that needs to be done by civil society, because the task of transforming South Africa doesn't rest only with government. That is why the Constitution opens with a preamble that says, we the people. And so it's important that that conversation takes place about what is it that government should do and do well, what is it that needs to be done by civil society and a number of other sectors in society. So what am I saying? I'm essentially saying we will be participating there as the ANC, just like everybody else. So their withdrawal from the national dialogue really is a damn sweep, because avoiding to leave the government of national unity or stopping themselves from outrightly leaving the government of national unity has caused them to withdraw from the national dialogue. The real discussion and the struggles that the DA is having internally is that they're not unified on whether they should leave the government of national unity or whether they should stay in and do what they say is calling Rescue South Africa. So that is our stance. The national dialogue will continue. It is regrettable, of course, because they are denying their constituency of a say in the national dialogue. I must also remind viewers that the DA has some of their ministers or a minister or deputy ministers that are part of the president's preparatory team through the Interministerial Council. Now, if the DA doesn't participate, those of their members that have been appointed into that role in the Interministerial Council, they are duty-bound to implement the decisions of cabinet as well as executive actions directed by the president, who appoints and disappoints. So I don't know how they're going to deal with that kind of quagmire, because, again, if a DA minister or a deputy minister disregards an instruction, similarly with the unlawful act by Andrew Whitfield of going overseas without the express permission of government, and then the DA jumps and wants to blackmail parties in the GNU, in particular the ANC. So I don't know. I really don't know what it is that they're trying to solve for. For our part, we are going ahead. We're going to be preparing all our structures, our branches, to participate in the process leading up to the national dialogue. We already have a task team that was set up last year that has been working on ANC perspectives on the national dialogue. We will be communicating all of those things soon, especially after the next upcoming National Executive Committee meeting.
Mahlengi, I want to go back to, of course, when the GNU was formed, a lot of debacles between the ANC and the DA has occurred, of course. NHI, the Bella Bill, land expropriation bill, the VAT hike, of course, that has been scrapped. And now, of course, the sacking of Andrew Whitfield. Um, if the public's looking from the outside, of course, they're thinking, okay, we're quite worried about the state of the GNU because two of the biggest partners within this GNU are having these disagreements that are occurring right there. Surely it has to stop, isn't it, Mahlengi, that this can't carry on for long. We don't want a sixth, seventh disagreement to occur between the ANC and the DA. So, listening to ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula saying that President Ramaphosa will not tolerate disrespect from deputy ministers. Where does the ANC draw the line in terms of these disagreements, especially that with the DA?
I think the best way of responding to the question is to refer to the founding document of the Government of National Unity, the statement of intent. If you go through that document, clause by clause, you will not find a section that empowers any party, in this case the DA, to go to court to seek to reverse transformative or redress legislations. It's there in the statement of intent that there will be no interference with transformation policies. That is just the one thing I wanted to put across. The second one, there is absolutely nothing in that statement of intent that empowers the DA to want to preside over the affairs of the country, of the state, with President Ramaphosa. President Ramaphosa or any other president, even if they are not ANC, at any point in history, the President Ramaphosa has his powers, duties and responsibilities enshrined in the constitution of the land. So there is no way the ANC won't draw the line where there's an interference with the ability of the president to lead our country by having a demand that says you have to consult us first before you appoint or dismiss anyone. There is no such a thing, neither from the statement of intent all the way to the constitution. So they're now really, threading on thin line. And we have expressed a very strong view in our statement about the fact that that will not occur. It will not happen. Remember that initially the DA threatened to place a motion of no confidence in the president. And so South Africans and the ANC particularly, we were anticipating the end of this 48-hour ultimatum, and we were prepared for any eventuality because we are committed to the Government of National Unity. We cannot afford not to be committed to it because we initiated the Government of National Unity. Now, you talk about drawing the line. I think the time is fast approaching. We're also aware that the DA wants the ANC to be the one that pushes them out of the Government of National Unity. You imagine a scenario where you place a motion of no confidence to a government that you're part of. Because they're part of government, they have ministerial positions and deputy ministerial positions. It's a total contradiction. And if they go ahead with the threat of placing a motion of no confidence against the president, on the president, it is not us who would have expelled them or kicked them out of the GNU. They would have kicked themselves out of the GNU. So we noted that in their statement, they said that they decided not to place a motion of no confidence against the president yet, and underline yet. We say that should they want to do that, we are prepared to do what is necessary for the country as well as for the positions of the African National Congress. Remember that the parties that constitute the GNU may change anytime. We are not wedded to the the DA, in perpetuity. This decision was taken in the interest of national unity. This decision was a very difficult decision for the ANC because we have absolutely nothing in common with the Democratic Alliance. From a policy and a conceptual framework point of view, our values, our founding principles, what we stand for, that is why we're fighting this
Mahlengi.
attempt by the DA to reverse policies that have been adopted that have empowered thousands and thousands of Black South Africans, of colored South Africans, of Indian South Africans, trying to equalize the playing field in the marketplace, in corporate, in government, and elsewhere.
Mahlengi, sorry, I have to stop you there. We have come towards the end of the time. Thank you so much for joining us. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
That's Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, national spokesperson of the African National Congress. Well, you've heard the DA, you've heard the ANC. It's up to you, the viewer, to decide with regards to this current situation with the government of national unity. We're going to be going overseas after the break. I'm going to be speaking to Zaina Haroon. Yesterday, the British High Court ruled that the UK government's decision to allow the export of the F-35 jet parts was lawful, despite accepting they could be in breach of international humanitarian law. I'll be speaking to her after the break.